Hi guys. It's Sarah Elise here. I'm an astrologer in Toronto, Canada, and I'm sending this out to my newsletter community. Thanks for listening, for those of you who are paying attention and taking the time. Today's a really busy day for me. I'm working hard to do some final exam stuff for a program I'm in. So I'm going to make this a quick newsletter, but I couldn't resist the opportunity to talk to you on this amazing day when Leo is so prominent in our sky. It's the new moon of Leo today. It's July 31st, Wednesday. And we've got the new moon happening tonight. I think it's around 11 o'clock or somewhere in the later evening. But right now we have the moon, Venus, Sun, and Mars all in the sign of Leo. So that's four planets in Leo. It's called a stellium. And that's a lot of fire. In fact, the sun is trining Jupiter in Sagittarius, and it's also perfectly trining Chiron in Aries. So we're actually having a large grand trine of fire in the sky today. So if you've got a lot of energy, and if you feel like you can't stop smiling, that's the reason. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about what this archetype means to me. It's very powerful for me this year. I'm in a Leo year. If any of you have ever had a solar return done, you can look, there's a way of like progressing your chart at your birthday to set the tone, to kind of see what the tone is or the theme is for the year ahead. And this is a Leo theme for me. In fact, my progressed moon went into Leo this year as well. And when all of this was going down, I had a pretty powerful download, a dream, like a sacred dream that I get from time to time. It's a special dream. It's not like a normal dream. And literally the sun, the archetype of the sun, came to me in my dream. And the sun was there in my dream. And like no word of a lie, the sun was teaching me about the quality of solar, like sourcing love and sourcing consciousness from the source rather from the other. So it was a whole dream download about right use of sexual energy. And let's talk about Leo, shall we? Leo is all about fun and flirtation and creativity. It's like your inner child. It's like all it wants to do is self-actualize itself and be seen and be beautiful and be appreciated. And it's super excited about it. And sometimes Leo is known for some not so on the up and up sexual behavior. I mean, it can be known for having affairs and flirtation and doing these, diving into these things that are kind of a little bit more transactional without thinking about the consequences. And so this whole dream was all about right use of sexual energy, which is Kundalini, right use of personal power, which is sexual energy. We're used to in our culture associating sex with sex. But what is sex actually? But the activation of Kundalini, the activation of our personal integrity, our personal power. And when you can take that power up and instead of bleeding it out and pushing it on other people or manipulating people with it, when you lift it into your heart and you lift it up at the top of your head, you become the source of light. You become the source of the sun. You become an expression of solar energy or of love. Right? And that's the true meaning of Leo. So that's what the sun was kind of teaching me, to connect to it instead of to connect to the feelings of excitement or flirtation or titillation or whatever I might get a rush from on the external, like by engaging in flirtatious or a kind of like sexual repartee or that sort of behavior. That it was showing me that creates karma. So what that does is it misaligns you and pulls you into relationships that are not serving you. But when you stand in ferocious integrity and your source of energy is the source itself, which is the sun, which rules Leo, and which is the center of our solar system, we are only here because of that sun. It is our star. And, as far as our three-dimensional reality is concerned, it is the source of light. It is the source of life. And so when we're plugged into that consciousness, and that's what we're getting our energy from, and that is fueling us, and that is the source of our creativity, and that is the source of our consciousness, and that is what we are devoted to, then we can create relationships with other people that are in integrity. So that's kind of been the lesson for me this year. And I'm so grateful to share that with you, because I think today is on a new moon in Leo. We're heading into the month of Leo, like we've just entered it. And it's all about personal creativity, right? It's all about self-actualization and being the self ferociously and bravely and strongly, and presenting yourself, and not being shy, not being afraid. Like, but what does that mean actually? What does that mean? Because Leo can get stuck when Leo starts to too much devote itself to the external. When Leo wants or gets addicted to the little tingle that it gets, you know, that excited little pleasure that it gets when someone pays attention to it and kind of thinks it's cute or hot or whatever. When Leo identifies with that feeling instead of with the internal source of its own heart, its own soul, then Leo's light depletes. It doesn't fulfill itself. It goes out, okay? I wanted to just read you this beautiful quote by a woman named Marion Woodman, who is a renowned Jungian analyst and teacher. And this, she says about the creativity, the creative process. She says, the creative process shrivels in the absence of continual dialogue with the soul. And what she's saying there is, like, your creative self-actualization will shrivel. It will fall apart. You will be thrust into the throes of insecurity and self-annihilation and drama and like all of this stuff if you're not coming from your soul, your heart, if you're not sourcing from the sun, okay? The sun, the soul, the source, the light. So it's all metaphor. It's all metaphor. It's so many different levels of consciousness. It's metaphor, but it isn't. It's also literal. It's literal. So I'm calling you, or today what I'm doing, very, very much what my process is today, is connecting into my heart and feeling like the sun is there. Like feeling like the sun is shining in my heart. What does that feel like? What does it feel like when the sun is shining from your heart? Where does the shine want to go? What does it want to do? Who does it want to be? It's not you, don't forget. It's the sun. And when we separate ourself from that shine, what happens is the shine gets brighter and brighter and brighter. It's self-regenerating. The sun does not go out. So when the source of your light is coming from the sun, it's inexhaustible, inexhaustible. But when you're personalizing it and you're not in your heart, and the source of your light is only coming up to like maybe the second or third chakra, and you're engaging in like three-dimensional human repartee, and you're self-identifying with the need that you have, the addictive need for approval or whatever it might be, then your light, it can't fulfill itself. It is exhaustible. It's not inexhaustible any longer. So play with that today. Ask the question, who am I? That's a perfect question. And who do I choose to be? Who am I bravely being? What is my quality of inner light going to do today? How am I going to align with myself today? Self-actualization. That is Leo. And in its most ascended form, Leo is the king. And it is the queen for a reason, because it is regal and it shines like the sun. It is the center of the solar system, okay? All right. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.